Today we will learn how we could actually get Tenfold call center integrated into Salesforce. Tenfold is such kind of call center that have the following functionality. So first of all, our agent have possibility to set up their present status, like it could be available, unavailable, or wrap up. Also, as a part of the basic functionality, what we could do from there, we could search for contacts in our system, or for personal accounts or accounts if it's necessary, create new records. And when we, for example, open in some record, from there what we could do is we could look for the recent activity, like if there was any kind of calls related to this specific contact, or if there was any kind of cases created. Also from there we could check what kind of basic contact information do we have, and also from there we have possibility to perform necessary actions. Like, for example, what we could do from there is we could create a new case. When we will click on this button, create a new case, what it will do, it will just show us, assign it on the org new case creation form. And from there what we could do is, if it's necessary, we could jump to the specific case if we will click on this Salesforce icon, or when we will click there, we will be able to relate this specific case to this contact if it will be necessary, as you could see. Also from there what we could do is we could, for example, reassign our call to the necessary persons. So there are such a lot of good things related to Tenfold. But let's investigate how this specific call center could be actually integrated into Salesforce. So if we will look into Tenfold Salesforce integration overview guide, so from there we will be able to find those steps which is necessary for us to get Tenfold integrated. So first of all, for us to have possibility to integrate Tenfold with Salesforce, we need to set up API user, and this API user must be, let's say, higher in the role hierarchy than other users. And what it will give to us, this specific user will have access to all of records which is behind in the role hierarchy tree of that user, and it's necessary for us to get necessary records visibility. So another workaround that you could do from there, if you will provide the specific view all access and modify all access to this specific user, API user I mean, then you will not really need to have this, let's say, additional role in the role hierarchy. So this API user will be able to see necessary records anyway. Why it's necessary to be done that way? Because that user should be able to see necessary contact related to cases. This user should be able to create tasks, for example, for situation when users trying to request call me back logic, and so on and so forth. Also from there we could see that the following system permission are also required for our API user. It's API enabled, it's edit tasks, view setup and configurations, view role and role hierarchy, and view all users, for us to be able via our API user on the actual UI of the Tenfold to find necessary contacts, necessary users, on all related information. So once it's done and we have integration user set up, we need to navigate to the Tenfold dashboard and actually connect, let's say, Tenfold dashboard with our specific production or sandbox environment. So when we will go to the Tenfold dashboard side, from there we will be able to set up with what exactly connectors we would like to connect our Tenfold. In our case it will be Salesforce, and from there we selecting what exactly we would like to use. Should it be production user or sandbox user? In our case it was sandbox user. So we just selected that point. After that we put our credentials, and when everything was done we got a notification that our sandbox Tenfold API user is connected to the system. So after that, what is specified in this specific document, it's for this specific user we need to provide the following permissions to the object. Like for the account object, the following access needs to be for the account name, like read edit access. For the contact object, we also could see all necessary access which is required. The same for the lead, the same for the task object. You could see that all necessary, let's say, field level security is set here. So we will need to make sure that we will provide this necessary access for our API user. Okay, so what should be our next step? We need to go to dashboard, navigation, connect. Yeah, so it's what we just described when we just connected our Tenfold. So next step, which is necessary for us to do, is we need to actually download latest OpenCTI managed package for our sandbox in our case, or if you will need to use it for production, you will be able to do so by going to the following link. So when we will go to the following link, we will be able to download from there most recent version. In our case, it's the current one. And what we are doing from there, in our case, we just downloaded OpenCTI sandbox installation link. So once it's done and we actually installed Tenfold UI, it's the name of this specific package, we are installing it for the all users. And once it's done, we will be able to actually see it in Salesforce. So it will look like this, and you will be able to find the specific call center settings in the specific chapter of your sidebar menu. It's a call center. And right from there, you will be able to actually manage who will be the actual call center users. In our case, we decided to add 2 system administrators. And what will be the latest, let's say, point for us to actually add this specific widget into our toolbar menu? So it could be done from the application manager. And when we click in edit near with our, for example, in our case, Service Cloud, and when we modify an utility bar, we could add this specific full integration into the our tools menu. So one more important point that I would like to raise, that at this moment when you will try to actually select or integrate already existing, let's say, present statuses that you have in Salesforce with those that you could see here, they are not exactly the same. So that means that when you, for example, in your omni-channel will select that you are, for example, available only for live agent, that will means that it have no any kind of influence on the Tenfold integration. They are working as a, let's say, separate application. So for example, if I'm putting here offline, you will be able to see that from Tenfold I'm still available. So your agents will need to maintain that kind of access, because if you will try to, let's say, separate omni-channel settings and you will try to modify service channels, you will find that service channels that you are trying to handle there, for example, when you perform in service channel like available for case, and Tenfold also allowing you to create the cases, so you will not be able to create separate service channels for the same object. Salesforce not allowing that. And one more let's say items that I would like to share, that on the Tenfold side there are let's say big amount of options which is really available for you to set up if you would like to actually customize the way how it's working. So for example, in our case, for cases, what we did is we set up outer relate cases and show closed cases for us to be able to actually see activity history. So if you will need to get any kind of additional information around what could be actually set up in the Tenfold, so you will be able to play with the specific let's say features related to any kind of chapters that you would like to play. So at the moment that's it from my side, and thank you for the attention.